I'm the one who has created this mess, I cannot purport to be the one that is going to clean it. So these guys now turn to corruption to try and purport to be the people that will deal with the problem they have created.
But
you have to step aside.
This is what you've been looking for.
You have to step
you want
aside.
people to be.
He should not be directing the IGG, should not be directing the DPP.
Have you never heard of a saying that the buck stops with the president?
That's politics. That's politics.
The president is the executive head of government.
Yes. Listen to that goon Tweheyo. The president is executive of the government. Yeah. Okay. Why doesn't this mention the parliament? Sorry, the president. I'm going to read it one more time. The inspectorate of government shall be independent in the performance of its functions and shall not be subject to the direction or control of any person or authority, and shall only be responsible to the parliament, not to the president.
And what does that mean? He's the chief executive officer of the country.
Yes, he's the chief executive officer, but he does not overrun institutions.
You're watching Mordecai Marissa Live Political Commentary. Please consider subscribing to help grow Uganda's Voices of Struggle ecosystem. Thank you.
I cannot appreciate you enough for using your valuable time to always go on social media, break down things for people.
Ladies and gentlemen, in yet another painful on-air reality check, political analyst Ronald Egesa tore through former Uganda National Teachers Union Secretary General James Tweheyo's defense of Museveni during a heated discussion on corruption on Radio 1 FM 90. Now, this debate was about Museveni's fight against corruption and his ongoing creation of army units supposedly created to fight corruption. Egesa's argument was brutal. The president is bypassing the very institutions constitutionally mandated to fight corruption, and then continue wondering why the problem refuses to die. Because you're abusing the constitution. Simple, you would think. Tweheyo, however, appeared ready to give Museveni almost unlimited absolute power. Those powers that, the president can do whatever he wants. He argued that the president can essentially do whatever he believes is necessary. Then Egesa stepped in. No, he doesn't. So what followed was less of a political debate and more of a constitutional lesson. Egesa dismantled the idea that the presidential powers or the power of the president means unlimited power, reminding James Tweheyo that even the president is bound by the Constitution. Tweheyo came prepared to defend Museveni's power. Egesa came prepared to explain its limits. And in the end, Museveni's defense ran straight into the Constitution. And you want to guess what won? The Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, as I'm going to show you here. Now, without further ado, with those niceties out of the way, please, let me take you to the conversation. But before I do three magical things that will help me send these, those mysterious men and women will help me in YouTube, will help me send this video far and wide. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. I immensely appreciate. Now, let's watch this conversation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on and jump right in. This is Egesa.
But what I'm trying to say, in the first part of the 1980s, when Mwalimu Julius Nyerere's policies had failed in Tanzania, elders, including the Catholic Archbishop, sat him down and said, you who has been the architect and chief implementer of these failed policies cannot be the same person to reform. You step aside and give us a fresh start. So we get somebody else to steer the country. You can give your advice, but when you're the sidelines.
You know, that's one thing you will never hear from Museveni stooges, goons, emissaries, and acolytes. The problem has persisted for more than 40 donkey years. And every time they discuss this problem, they separate it from Museveni, who has presided over it. Museveni, who has presided over corruption, who has used corruption to sustain and consolidate this criminal regime cannot be the same man fighting corruption. The two things are diametrically opposed. Copy the Tanzanian way. You cannot fight this problem. Step aside. You can offer advice if we need it, but no, go away.
Yeah. So Nyerere heeded that advice. And that is actually the reason why I suspect, in my view, why Nyerere is so revered in the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, that he could listen to the advice of the prelate.
Yeah, underline, he could listen to the advice. Remember now we are engaging a man whose name is Tweheyo. Tweheyo takes no advice, Museveni.
Not dismiss the prelate, not undermine the prelate, but listen to their advice and say, indeed, if I'm the one who has created this mess, I cannot purport to be the one that is going to clean it. It is only normal and reasonable.
Normal and reasonable cannot be in the same sentence with the Museveni regime. Dispatching your Gestapo thugs to go and abduct your political opponent, get him tortured, is abnormal. It is stupid. It is evil. It is grotesque. But that's how Museveni believes politics should be played.
That you pave way and you let somebody else to come and steady the ship. Yeah. I also one time had a client come to me for consulting work. And then this client, he told me, I've run into problems with authorities over ABCD. Then again, the client was giving me instructions. I want you to deal with them like this, like this, like this. Then I told him, but wait, you man, the reason you hired me and you are willing to pay top dollar is because your imagination, your solutions, your strategies ran you into a ditch. So if I continue taking them, we are going to be digging deeper. So it is time you pause. Let me now bring a breath of fresh air and bring my ideas, bring my experience and get you out of the ditch. I cannot also come and start listening to you. We will go deeper.
Brilliant.
So you can't solve the problem. So for me, this whole thing of when the elections have ended and there are misgivings about elections from the public, and then the NRM honchos say they are going to fight corruption. I mean, they are trying now to manage the public mood, because the public is angry that, yes, we had an exercise, things didn't go, as should be in a democracy, but then...
He's being very, very conservative with his words. He's not as bombastic and combative and screamy. Is that a word? Like me. What he's trying to say is that the election was mad with violence. The election was rigged. He says, oh, the things did not go as we wanted as per democracy. He's trying to say Museveni rigged the election. They're trying to manage public anger, and they're trying to do something to buy legitimacy from the people whom they rigged their victory from. That's what he's trying to say. But he's very conservative and, doesn't want this conversation to veer off onto another topic.
So this guy is now turned to corruption to try and purport to be the people that will deal with the problem they have created.
But
you have to step aside.
This is what you've been looking for.
You have to step aside.
You want people to be arrested.
Yep. Purport to be the people that exercise. Things didn't go, as should be in a democracy. But then, so this guy is now turned to corruption to try and purport to be the people that will deal with the problem they have created.
But
you have to step aside.
This is what you've been looking for.
You have to step aside.
You want people to be arrested.
And one thing I don't understand, this is the problem I have with playing the devil's advocate. Like, you have to really pretend like, you're absent from the conversation, because this is the host. He's going to be asking a question that is detached from the submission of Egesa. Listen.
No, this is not a long-term strategy. Yeah,
he says, this is what you wanted. No, he says, hey, he gave you a background. These people who have created a problem for 40 years are the ones fighting it.
I have submitted before. It's not a long-term strategy. I have told you the strategy is very simple. You say, done with presidentialism. in comes institutionalism. That is all. That's how you fight corruption. Yeah, the president simply needs to say, from today onwards, IGG, CID, Auditor General, and all other institutions, do your work. If anybody interferes with you, if there is anybody who comes and says, here is the phone, Gambanogu, report direct to me.
Exactly. Simple. It shouldn't be very difficult to understand. That's what Museveni should do. Let institutions operate. But Museveni, being a micromanager and a narcissistic sociopath he cannot leave these people to function because he always wants to be the one in the spotlight. He wants to be the one to be seen. Oh, I'm the one. Actually, I think he's a man who actually told us. If you read the Sowing the Mustard Seed, the second version, Museveni presents himself as the Messiah. Where they faced difficulties, it is because they didn't listen to him. Where they faced victories, it is because they listened to Museveni. Okay? Until Museveni understands that, he's not going to be here forever.
The president says, I will not interfere with the work of institutions. Yep. That is the best gift that President Museveni can give Uganda today.
But I think that's what he's doing.
No.
He receives information.
He's the one directing institutions that are supposed to act on their own.
You see the president can get information.
That's the guy playing devil's advocate. I don't understand. He's got Museveni simps on this panel. Why doesn't he allow them to make these arguments?
Through intelligence, whistleblower. Yes.
He's supposed to say, I have received information. IGG, please act. Not tell them what to do.
Exactly.
The moment he tells them what to do, he's actually abrogating the constitution.
Yep.
All right.
The IGG is not supposed to be subject to the direction of any persons.
All right.
Now, we're going to the Museveni goon, James Tweheyo.
That's why I'm telling you, the only thing the only gift he can give us is to give goodwill and say, do your work.
All right.
If he wants to be a whistleblower, let him be.
Let's go to Tweheyo. Tweheyo, what's your take about this development that we're seeing, senior officials in URSB being sent on
Listen to the oily Tweheyo.
Leave investigation taking place. While we are still discussing that, we have the Auditor General's office also under check. The other day we had senior engineers at the Ministry of Works being, interdicted. And we are seeing what is happening with the Balaam-led crusade.
I have been listening with interest as my brother took us to Kenya, to Tanzania, to the Catholic Church, to everywhere.
He nearly took us to the shrine.
Yes, and there are some things we must first look at. First things first. Is there corruption or it is not? And the answer, written on the wall. Number two, has the president and many of us in the party been accused of condoning corruption, leave alone being corrupt? The answer is very clear, yes. So when somebody begins from that point and says the president is the one directing this, and then turns around and say president is not fighting enough or is not giving direction on the fight.
He seems to suggest that the institutions always wait for the president to instruct them. They are not, strong enough to act on their own.
Yes and no. When the institution itself has issues inside it, how do you expect it to be the same institution to say, come and investigate us?
Again, that's shooting in your own foot, brother. Is pretty much admitting to institutional dysfunction. That's what we're saying. Museveni has killed all these institutions, and he should step aside and let another person steady the ship. That's the argument of Egesa.
Is it possible? No, these are government. I want you to differentiate between government and NRM.
No, there's no difference. There's no difference. There should be a difference, but there's no difference between the government of Museveni and the NRM as a political party.
And I don't want my brother to really misguide. We have institutions of government.
Which are dead, you just admitted too.
These institutions of government include ministries, MDAs, and all that. In these institutions, they are human beings, Ugandans. If somebody goes to the Ministry of Works and makes sure the road contract...
Let's jump ahead where Egesa continues to dismantle this guy's argument, because he continues, he went on to say, oh, you know what? you guys have been saying Museveni should come, and now he's here, and now you don't want him. They never address issues that are usually raised. They enjoy these straw man argument or gaslighting and projection. All those are psychological tactics that are used to run away from meeting the argument that has been raised by people like Egesa.
We need to be honest.
Allocating who should handle what, he makes you think that the president is governing in accordance with the law, whereas not. State House Anti-Corruption Unit, State House Investors Protection Unit, these are illegal outfits. These are not lawful outfits.
No, they're not.
They are illegal outfits.
They are not illegal.
They are illegal outfits.
Well, I get where he's coming from. And I think when you say the State House Anti-Corruption Unit is an illegal outfit, I think that's a more vulnerable claim. When you call it simply illegal, you're very likely to get those shouting voices. No, they are not. I think a much stronger argument would be that those units such as the State House Anti-Corruption Unit, their legal foundation and exercise of coercive powers are constitutionally questionable, particularly where they duplicate or displace institutions that the Constitution specifically created to fight corruption. Because if we have the State House, I think he's going to go on and try to break it down, but he puts himself in a vulnerable position if he says that just simply illegal. But I get the point where he's coming from. Because we already have institutions that are mandated by the Constitution, as I'm going to read you, to fight corruption. So of what importance is the State House Anti-Corruption Unit?
No, they are illegal outfits.
If the law can allow,
let me tell you,
if the law can allow a minister to issue statutory instruments,
they are actually.
Can't the law allow the president to put in place institutions?
And then they
now you see that guy playing the devil's advocate is trying to refer to Article 99, Clause 4 of the Constitution, which is a provision that allows Museveni to exercise executive functions either directly or through officers subordinate to him. So he's trying to say, oh, you see, Museveni created the the State House Anti-Corruption Unit using Article 99, Clause 4. Yeah, but Egesa is cooking. Let him cook.
Overrun established institutions?
Did you hear that? They overrun the established institutions. This Constitution, in Chapter 13 of our Constitution, it establishes the Inspectorate of Government, which forms the Inspectorate General of Government, IGG, which is mandated in Article 225 that gives the function to fight and eliminate corruption, investigate.
They don't.
No, they don't overrun.
And then the president starts allocating them.
All right, let him give us an example. Yes, Mr.
See, let me tell you, the president is not the one supposed to tell when there is a crime. He's not the one supposed to tell which outfit is supposed to handle the crime. That is within the law.
But you've been
knows that.
You've been arguing here. You've been arguing here before.
The law is very clear.
That the president is the biggest consumer of intelligence.
I have told you. We are not discussing politics here. We are talking governance.
Exactly. Or the president is the biggest consumer of intelligence. They love these sweeping statements. Like people say, the president is the first citizen of any country. Okay, you can even go on and say, I'm in Trump's land or I'm in Museveni's land if you're in Uganda. But that doesn't take away the fact that he is bound by this constitution. Doesn't make him any special. We use those terms for political reasons, to play politics, but they mean nothing when it comes to this.
There's a difference between politics and governance.
We are talking about the fight against corruption.
Yes, but that is governance.
It's a governance issue.
It's a governance
which can also be politics.
We are not discussing the politics of NRM or the politics of... we agree with Tony that we are discussing governance. We are not talking politics. So me, I'm telling you that it is very clear in the law what the role of the police, CID is, what the role of DPP is, what the role of Auditor General is, what the role of IGG is.
And what is the
okay.
Yeah, and
oh my God! Listen to the goon. And what's the role of the president? They do not listen. They don't care about this at all. And this is what Egesa is trying to say. I'm going to read you here if you like.
When it comes to the Constitution, yes, and even the role of the president. When it comes to the Constitution, when it talks about IGG,
Let me read you here. Let me read you, ladies and gentlemen. Functions of Inspectorate, the Inspector General of Government. The functions of the Inspectorate of Government shall be prescribed by Parliament and shall include the following: to promote and foster strict adherence to the rule of law and principles of natural justice in administration, to eliminate and foster the elimination, to eliminate and foster the elimination of corruption, abuse of authority, and public office. That is the Constitution. Like, it is telling it categorically clear. To promote fair, efficient, and good governance in public offices. Okay? Let me go read you here. This is chapter 200, Article 225. It says on clause E, it says, functions of inspectorate, okay? Ready? To investigate any act, omission, advice, decision, or recommendation by a public officer or any other authority to which this article applies, taken, made, given, or done in exercise of administrative functions, and to stimulate the public awareness about the values of constitutionalism in general. Like, we already have our constitution mandating an institution to fight corruption.
When it talks about DPP, DPP does not work for the president of Uganda. No,
Yes.
the DPP works for the Ugandan public, isn't it?
Equally, the president
It says,
works for the
yeah, but
you know,
no,
may-
but
I-
the
I
law
don't want-
says
I don't want
the
to
director of
misguide us.
public prosecutions and the IGG are not subject to the direction of any persons. The president is not exempted.
Mr. Egesa,
but-
The,
Mr.
the
Egesa,
president is not exempted in the constitution.
Mr.
The
Egesa.
president should not abrogate the constitution.
Exactly. Let's read here. It is this is Article 227, Independence of Inspectorate, the IGG. The Inspectorate of Government shall be independent in the performance of its functions and shall not be subject to the direction or control of any person or authority, and shall only be responsible to the Parliament, not Museveni. This is Chinese to people who worship at the feet of their dear leader, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. To them, Museveni has a right to do whatever. He can abuse them, he can use them, he can dump them, he can anything. They don't care about the constitution at all.
Have
He
you
should
never
not be
had-
directing the IGG, should not be directing the DPP.
Have you never
You see
heard?
what Tony is saying?
Have you never heard of a saying that the buck stops with the president?
That's politics. That's politics.
And what does that mean? He's the chief executive officer of the
Let
country.
me make it
Yes,
very
he's the chief executive
Let's make
officer,
it very
but he
clear.
does not overrun institutions.
No, please.
Yeah, it is very
president-
possible.
The
No,
president is the executive head of government.
Yes,
Listen to that goon Tweheyo. The president is executive of the government. Yeah. Okay. Why doesn't this mention the parliament? Sorry, the president. I'm going to read it one more time. The Inspectorate of Government shall be independent in the performance of its functions and shall not be subject to the direction or control of any person or authority, and shall only be responsible to the Parliament, not to the president. They didn't even mention not to the executive, to the Parliament.
but
You
it-
agree
it
with
does
that?
not.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
And under the constitution, he has executive authority vested in him, and he drives this policy to safeguard the law, appoint cabinet, ministers, and the public and the key public officials. So this executive authority and the duties that he has, they are vested in him by the constitution of
The
Uganda.
Constitution of
And
Uganda
therefore-
does not establish
Wait
a
a minute.
presidential,
Wait a
presidential
minute.
system,
When you appoint-
an absolute presidential
When you
system.
appoint-
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
When
our
you-
system is not an
First
imperial
listen,
presidential
First
system.
listen. When you appoint, do you keep quiet and leave the appointed institutions to move, and you don't even follow them out?
Does the president
Then
appoint
where,
the IGG?
where do you keep?
No, does the president appoint the
Even
IGG?
if he doesn't appoint, but doesn't he appoint these other organs which are
The president nominates these people, and they have
Which
to be
makes you say
approved
illegal.
by the people's representatives.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
That's very true.
Yes.
But then,
So,
when, even when you nominate,
let me tell you something
First
about
listen,
the structure.
even when you nominate,
Let's listen
and
to
they
each
are
other.
confirmed. They are
But
confirmed.
it was
by the
it was me on the mic.
You
He
cannot
was-
simply
he was
say
giving
that.
Let me tell you, these people look at Museveni with reverence that you cannot imagine. Egesa's argument is simple. Why does Museveni need a separate anti-corruption apparatus or investigative apparatus operating from the State House. When the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda deliberately created an independent inspectorate of government to perform that function. When you create this State House anti-corruption unit at the State House, then you're rendering the Inspector General of Government jobless. So why are we paying the IGG? If we have Banham, we have that lady in a anti-corruption unit at State House, and then you have IG. Why are we paying all these people?
Information.
Because you are misleading.
Very quickly.
No.
Very quickly.
What do you call the executive authority of the president?
All right. Let's go back to Mr. Egesa.
Yeah.
So that
Why do you call it the executive authority of the president? Or you should worship him. That's what it means. They don't.
winds up his
Now,
point.
you see, what Dr. Tweheyo is trying to do is to confuse the listener.
No.
Yeah? The thing is this. When you are the executive head, it does not mean you are the absolute authority. That's the difference. Even in my company, I'm the chief executive, but I'm not the absolute authority.
But you see,
once we have put in place policies, once our board says this will be handled by this and this and this and this. Okay? Yeah? No. I have to make it in accordance with the board charter.
Yes.
Exactly. A board charter being the Constitution.
And the president does that.
Yeah, so what we are saying.
But we already had an institution that is mandated to perform that function. So why were we creating another one? If you're going to create a separate unit, then get rid of this one.
The president is not governing according to the law on certain issues,
right.
especially on these issues of fighting corruption.
Right.
That's why we have all these funny committees in State House. Do you know that every department, almost every ministerial department, is duplicated in State House?
Thank
you
you.
have a State House unit on land, State House unit on corruption, State House unit on investment, State House unit on what? Everything. Now, then you have presidential advisors on almost everything. This is not what the law envisioned.
Right.
The Ugandan Constitution did not create an absolute imperial presidency. The Ugandan Constitution created a presidency whose powers must be checked by the people's representatives in parliament.
All right.
That's mic drop. I can add nothing. These people, the Museveni defenders, are devoid of common sense, reason, logic. And when you engage them, look, I'm not a lawyer. Even those who are lawyers, like the likes of Nobati Mao, Chiriwa Chwanuka, they don't care. They do not. Theirs is proximity to power. And when they look at the office of the president, their mind is more to the aesthetics, the aura, the vibe. Oh, I am the president. Oh, I am the minister. See me, I've got bodyguards. That's all they care about. It's not the substance in that position. No, it is the aura. Oh, I want to be seen. I want to be noticed. I want to be acknowledged that I am the minister. I'm the president. Of what importance is that? So that's why they are so afraid to discuss or even to criticize Museveni in the slightest. Sad. Let me know what you think. It gets me excited in ways I sometimes regret. All right, I'll see you. Bye-bye for now. Stick around.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.